All right, and welcome to the preview for the final round of the chase, the finale, Grande. Also happens to be the finale for the Super Series. I am here with the Ironman GOAT, Taylor Hayes, and we finally got race director Mike Smith with his red Starbucks cup.
Yes, controversy is my thing.
Well, let's start by before we get into what's ahead, which is going to be just an amazing battle like it was last year for the coveted six pack. Let's get into kind of what happened this year. Mike, Mike, you're a race director. You watched all the races. Um, how are your feelings towards the chase? I know that it's not as important as the regular championship, and I know it's kind of a sub thing. But this is the second year of the event. What are your feelings towards it?
Well, actually, anything that's going to be, added fun and stuff like that is going to be good. It's like you said, it's a sub championship, and I know there's joking around and whatnot. I was like, oh, it's more important than the other deal. Well, it really depends, right? If you're Logan Calvin, it's not. Well, maybe it is now because the other thing's already done, but it depends on the deal. But regardless, all joking aside, depending on who you are, it's still pretty damn cool. It's something else to go for. It's a few different people in there, although all of them are really going for hardware. But it's interesting to see how the whole thing works out with so many different drivers able to go for it at the beginning and how it does shake down. I got to be honest, I don't really like it at all in NASCAR. I think it's terrible.
None of us
But I think it's a neat sub championship kind of thing.
Like, it's a cool thing to have. Yes, exactly. It's a sub championship, not something to hang your hat on as a legitimate points deciding factor.
So there will be no chase in the Super Series where we're going.
We're not going with the 2-race chase and the 10-race playoff proposal.
Bloody terrible idea.
Taylor, let's talk. This is your second year. You're in the finale.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a shot.
Mm-hmm.
You've squeaked by these last couple of rounds.
Correct.
I know that you and I have talked about it before. Going into each A main, where you're positioned. What's your thought process been the last couple of rounds when you've been out going into the A main and have battled your way through?
To me, it's looking still at the overall championship to a point, knowing that I've got to make up ground to get that top 3 or 4 in points, and to come along and get that, I pretty much am going to have to get through those chase contenders to be able to do it, too. Because I got to pick up every spot I can, and if those are the ones that it happens to be, then great for me.
Let's talk about what's already happened. Let's talk about the things that surprised us. I'll start with myself. I'm surprised by how many chase guys ended up wrecking and knocking themselves out. You had Adam in the first round. You had Sergio and Miles in the second round. You had Alyssa and Diego in the third round. Those are guys that were in each round, except for Adam because he got wrecked pretty early in the day. In each round, they were people that were in the chase and advancing, battling for a position and getting knocked out. Is there anything that's really surprised you in how things have progressed, Taylor?
No, because that's really it. I mean, that's the reason that I'm still in. That's the reason that guys like Darren are still in. Because last year we didn't see that. We didn't see those kind of wrecks. Granted, yeah, you do see that a little more on the counterclockwise layouts, which we had more of towards the end of the year this year. But I don't think anyone saw that coming, to have 5 guys taken out essentially by no fault of their own for most of them.
Mike, do you think the incidents that have happened, especially in these last couple of rounds, they're not typical of an A main at least. They're not always typical of an A main. Do you think it's a little more aggressive because it's towards the end of the year? Do you think it was because of the counterclockwise direction, or it's just one of them racing deals?
Well, it really depends. I mean, they're all a little bit different. Every single situation that I've seen, at least in the A main, is a little bit different. At the end of the day, what's happening is not at the sharp end. It's a little bit further back, and I think that is all a product of the depth of talent in the A main getting, well, it's getting deeper. It's getting better. and because of that, there's more people to fight through to get to the front, and that comes back to qualifying and the heat races more than anything else. Qualifying is important, but the heat races are, I feel, more important than qualifying. You can qualify okay and fight your way in. I mean, I think Hayes is a good example of that. Not like a blitz qualifier in general has had some rough luck in qualifying, but every round finds his way to the front. The heat races are the most important thing, getting to the sharp end that way. I think most stuff you're seeing in the A-main where it's not going right for these guys is, or gals, is that they're getting stuck in the back where everybody's trying to fight each other. For instance, with Alyssa's deal, it wasn't on purpose. It was just not enough room given by another driver and out of room. It's not atypical, if you will, but as things get tougher and tighter, you're going to start seeing more of that kind of thing happen. And it's not malicious. It's just messed up.
Well, you happen to mention Alyssa. I think coming out of this chase, she's got to be the most. She's impressed me the most. She advanced a round or two farther than I think any of us predicted. She made it to the final 8. She was there with a shot. She was actually the final 4 going into the A main. Taylor, do you have one particular driver that has impressed you the most in the chase, whether they still be in it or they not be in it right now?
Oh, I absolutely think it would have to be Alyssa. Like, between her and, to me, probably Bruce. But, I mean, Bruce, there were a couple rounds he squeaked through too. She made it through fairly handily every round. And again, she was in with a shot until she got wrecked.
Is there anyone in particular that of those guys that have raced in these last 4 rounds, whether they be in the chase or not necessarily, or having been knocked out of the chase, that it's really impressed you and you've seen grow throughout the process?
Well, if we're just talking about the chase and not the entire year itself, the chase itself, or just the last quarter of the season here, Alyssa's been real good the second half of the year. You've got some non-chase people who I thought have really made some big strides. But as far as the chase itself, as you guys say, Alyssa has been one of the big ones. Bruce has had a fantastic second half of the year and showed well. And I think, as you guys said, you kind of proved people wrong a little bit. When you get picked to get knocked out a couple of times and you don't get knocked out, good on him. I think those are the 2 big obvious surprises. But I think one of them, even though he won the chase last year, Darren Mercer, who's not in the top 5 in points immediately, but is a threat for it, has just been chipping away the second part of the year, just a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and could come away with the thing.
Absolutely. Let's talk about guys that are, before I get into the one topic that I think we haven't discussed, ironically, in any of these previews. Let's talk about the guys that are going to play spoiler for this last round, and this will actually lead me into my other topic. Of the non-chase guys, of not Logan, not Wes, not Darren, not Taylor, who are the guys who are going to be up front that are going to mix it up with those top 4 that could make a difference when it comes to getting that trophy?
Who's not? Really? I mean, at the end of the day, if you're on the entry list, you got a shot at it.
Yeah.
What we've seen before in season finales is anything can happen. You've got people coming who've had a good year that bounce back, or they finish the year strong or whatever. It could be a front runner. It could be someone further back that it clicks in this final run and they make things happen. I think you've got to look at your immediate title contenders who have got bigger and maybe better things, if you will, on the line, namely that of a Sergio Bravo. He's at the sharp end, and he's definitely going to be right up there because he's battling for overall hardware, never mind the chase implications. So he's going to be a big one, but you're going to have a ton of people at the front that can actually make something happen. I don't think it's going to be a regular name. I think we may see a little bit of a wild card this next round.
Any particular you want to point out, Taylor?
I mean, obviously the first you're going to look at are going to be the 12 that have been eliminated. They're at the front for a reason. They've been at the front all season for a reason. Guys like Adam, I mean, if not for that first round, I think he'd probably still be in the chase.
He would still be in the chase.
He's been really strong. I think it's going to shuffle around a little bit, going back to the clockwise directions. Certain guys are just a little bit stronger going the normal direction for us. Still, guys like Matt Hart, you'll see some of those other front runners, guys like maybe Sean Fight, might have a career day.
I think the one guy we failed to mention is John. He had a really tough round that last round, and he was top 3 advancing. And it just comes down to one bad round can knock you out. Same thing with Adam. Same thing with Diego wrecking. Okay, I do want to bring up one topic that we haven't talked about, but I think is going to be really interesting going into the day. It's the fact that of these final 4, you have probably the 4 top teams still left. You have Wes from Arkham, you have Darren and Taylor from T4, and you have Logan from Calvin Racing Development. And the idea that there could be now everyone's still racing for something. Unlike last year, we don't have a rookie championship going. We don't have a Masters championship going. Thanks, Sergio, again. So there's still the small inner battles, but the chase, and I think if it's important enough to some guys, I know it's important to guys like Logan, who wants to know if I was going to pick him. Wes has told me it's important to him. I know it's important to Taylor. I know it's important to Darren, because Darren likes beer and he likes trophies. And it's very interesting to me to see if there are any if team guys fall behind other guys. Like let's take for example Wes. He's got Justin. He's got Collins. He's got Rodney. He's got Bruce. He's got Sergio Serrano that he can find support. And those are all guys that could help him get into position in the A main and even get in position at the front of the A main. Mike, do you think that's going to play a factor at all? The fact that there are basically 3 distinct teams going for this?
No, not even a little bit. The only time that I think it might come into play is it in the A main when maybe you need a little bit of help. At the end of the day, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just the highest finisher of the 4.
Yep, that's
right?
it.
At the end of the day, it's going to be going for the W, right? They're going to go for the A main win. They're not going for the chase. They're going to go for the A main win, and the chase will take care of itself.
Absolutely.
T4's not going to help anybody because it's going to be between him and Darren. So they're going to try and beat each other, right? Now there could be a Chris Huerta in there or whatever, and who you going to... You're not. You're going to say piss on it. Good luck, gentlemen. You're going to pick one of them if you can, if it benefits you, I suppose, but you're not going to do it.
I think Adam said he would wreck them both.
Yeah, see, there you go. Fair. Yeah, I mean, but I don't think that, except for the people who are actually going for the team championship and the general camaraderie of the team stuff, at the end of the day, you might pick that guy in a line for the draft or what have you, but it is a sub category. At least in my opinion, the way I kind of see things play out, there's a lot of opportunities for people to go with teammates, and they don't out there.
You're not going to see any protection from behind. Really.
Right. Yeah. And you know, the only person I think would maybe do that is you. And I'm just I'll just go ahead and you're gonna enter the finale with a black flag, sir. You have to earn your way out of it. How about that?
All right, that's fair. I usually enter that way. Let's break down these final 4 guys. Mike, I'll have you start with the guy who's lucked his way in, and that would be Taylor. This is Grande. Some good experiences. How do you think he matches up against the other 3, against Darren, Wes, and freaking king of the world right now, Logan?
Well, you say lucked his way in. The one thing I would say about Taylor is that he's in the room. He's been the most consistent aside from Logan. If you look at the points, etc., he has not had, and this is typical Taylor, has not had the wow days. But this year he has been the most consistent driver. His 2 throwouts are better than everybody, with the exception of Logan. Logan's got a 323. I think you had a 320 and 325. Yeah. So, and Logan's done 9 rounds, and he's done 10 rounds, and he's done 11. Regardless, everybody else has had a 300-ish at best. So his worst days are better than everybody else's worst days. Taylor's biggest problem is that his best days aren't as good as other people's best days, and that's why he is in the points where he is, regardless chase or otherwise. That being said, there's something about the very end and the very beginning of a season that Taylor does pretty damn good, and that's being up front and being able to challenge for W's. Always there. The forward direction, I think, plays, even though you say you like the counterclockwise stuff, forward plays well. You had the W on Classico, which is a forward direction track, and this is not massively different than Classico in, what, 3/4 of the track,
Yeah.
right? So chances are good Taylor's got a good shot. I think it's going to be about throwing caution to the wind a little bit. It's going to be, at the end of the day, he's going to know what he needs to do for the overall. That's going to take precedent, and if he has the opportunity to win himself a six-pack of beer, do that too.
I'll take Darren, our defending champion. He's a guy that, for me, going into the chase, was as big of a question mark as probably anyone. Almost as big of a question mark as, say, like Aaron Downs. He has other priorities. We didn't know if he was committed to the last 4 races, but he's definitely shown that he is on his game. I think it was a couple rounds ago. I was watching live timing, and he dropped himself back to about 20th and worked his way back up to about 6th or 7th. And that's vintage Darren. He's making those passes, making those moves. He's been in really good spirits. I know he wants to add another 6-pack to his chest. I think he's as fast, if not faster, than anyone in the paddock right now. And he's a guy that can take a tough situation, say a tough cart draw in a heat race, and still maximize that. If not for very small incident and just honestly bad luck, that's a guy that would have been standing on the top step of the podium going in June. I think he's not I don't think he's the favorite by any means, but I think he's the guy that would be the least surprising of the 3 that's not Logan to win. I think he's probably. I think if I was a Vegas odds maker, he would be the second favorite going in, and it's just fun to watch Darren run when he's like really into it and really motivated. And I think right now he really is into it and motivated because he doesn't have just the chase, but that top 5, that trophy, which is something that earlier in the year, then say when the chase started, wasn't necessarily a thought in his mind. I think he was about 8th in points when we started, and he had already missed 2 rounds. But now he's got 2 carats.
Well, case in point, how strong he's been in the last few rounds.
Yeah.
Darren in a good mood is a dangerous Darren.
Yeah. So no one make him mad. Taylor, let's get on to a newcomer to the chase this year, and that would be Wes. He wasn't in the chase last year, first year into the chase, and now he's advanced to the final 4. How do you see Wes stacking up in the finale?
I honestly think he's got about as good a shot as anyone. He's had probably the most impressive season. I mean, obviously Logan's had just a killer season, but everyone expects that out of Logan. Like, everyone knew Wes was going to be good. I didn't think anyone would assume that Wes was going to be fighting for second in points. Like, maybe back into the top 5 type of guy, but he's just been on it all year. But like I said in the recap, we're going back to clockwise. His bread and butter has been counterclockwise all year, so I think this does humanize him a little more. But, I mean, like I said, he's been as good as anyone all year. He's got as good a shot as any.
All right, and let's, as a panel, take on the monster that is Logan Calvin. He's won half the races he was in this year. He's the defending national champion. He goes to Europe and comes back and wins. He leaves for Europe before and he wins. He's won the last 2 A-mains. Am I correct?
He's done pretty well.
Yeah, he's done pretty well. What's it going to take to knock him down? To not have him sweep the season, which is the regular championship, Grands, and the chase. Taylor, what's it going to take on your part, or Darren's part, or Wes's part, to beat Logan?
I mean, that's tough. It's going to really just be... He's got nothing on the line now, which I don't know what that's going to do to Logan. But with without him having to actually race for anything legitimate, I guess, that's scary to think of. Going in with nothing on the table just to go out for fun. I honestly don't know how that's going to do for him. I don't know if he's going to be checkers or wreckers or just keep doing what he's been doing.
What's it gonna take?
Well, I think it's really easy to look at Logan Calvin on paper and go, he's the man. It's really easy to do that. If you look at the races, if you're watching the races though, Logan is not obliterating the field, right?
No.
These aren't walkaway victories. These aren't like no challenge. He is generally speaking smarter than the most of the guys, or is making better decisions, whether smarter or not. But it's not that he's way faster than everybody else, because everybody's right on his tail or right in front of him. Like this last round, he was not leading at the white flag, right?
Nope.
So it's not that nobody has a chance. And I think it's really, really easy to go, how can you beat? What is it going to take? It's going to take this exact same stuff it always has: being in the right place at the right time, being smart, and also you get a bit of a target on your back when you're doing as well as Logan is. John's felt that before. Other guys at the front felt that before. And what sometimes happens is people want to see the guy go down. They don't want to crash him or anything like that. But if you got an opportunity to go down in a Long Beach in the final lap, and you got whoever and Logan, you might go whoever, just depending on if it's going to help you or what have you. So
Bruce, thanks.
What's it going to take? The exact same stuff that has taken all year, just a little bit better decision making in the last lap.
Yeah. Shout out to the only guy that beat Logan last round, Matt Hart. Logan asked me if Hart was made of like gold. We were all surprised by that.
When that's case in point, right? If Matt Hart can do it, and this isn't a dog on him, but if Matt Hart can do it, who is a limited experience versus most of the guys who are racing Calvin, then who's to say anybody can't do it? It's not that he's here and everybody else is here. It's even. You just got to do what you know how to do.
Well, this brings me to, you already made your prediction. You're not making one, because you're the race director, so I'm not going to ask you to make one. So this brings me to my prediction. So we got 4 guys. If I'm laying down odds, the least likely to win, because it's the regular direction, I would say is Wes. I give him probably a 10 to 12% chance. You have Taylor. You just haven't had that top round, 15% at most. Darren, who I think is on it right now, 35%. And the guy I'm gonna predict to win, I guess I just have a lot of respect for him, and the fact that he's been running so well, and he's just made it look, he's not made it look easy, but he's just made it look like he has control over the field, control over what's going on. He puts himself in the right places, and when he does, he capitalizes on it. So I give a lot of credit to Logan. So that's who I'm going to go with. Any final thoughts before we get into what is the finale, what is Grande? Any particular part of the track that you think is going to be the most important when it comes down to that last A-main battle?
Long Beach, white flag.
Long Beach white flag.
Long Beach is definitely going to be one of the big ones, certainly. I think actually, as much as Long Beach is going to be the big one, that all starts coming out of Contino. Contino and how you get through Horseshoe, the setup of Long Beach. But yeah, as Taylor says, we haven't been on Long Beach since July and Sportivo, and that's a different kind of Long Beach because we're going slower. So we haven't been on this program since spring. There's a lot of people who really like that corner. There's a lot of people who really hate that corner, and it's going to be exciting to see how that all shakes out.
Maybe Horseshoe if you try to outsmart someone.
Well, thank you both. We will do the wrap up post season. We'll hand out the coveted trophy at the podium, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully just like last year. I think who won the finale last year? Logan won the finale last year, and I think Darren was second, and that's how he won the chase?
Yes.
Okay. So hopefully this year it's whoever wins the A-main wins the chase at the same time. Hopefully it's a good battle for podium spot. it'll be entertaining. We'll be make an interesting call. All right, thank you, and
Yeah.
thanks, Mike. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no worries.
All right, see you everybody at the finale.